Gun Talk with LT. Not a full episode, just a reaction. We got Kevin Samuels content to react to. This one is centered around the hoe phase. So we're going to listen to this conversation, react to it, add commentary, perspective of the men, because I could only give my perspective and the perspective that I think most men go by. And Kevin Samuels kind of speaks for that, and she's the woman that he speaks to is speaking for herself and possibly for women. But let's see. Let's take this in.
I think they are, but I do like within that as a bullet point, I feel like I have a disagreement with how they should go about it.
Okay.
But I do think modern women are gambling with their lives because I just speaking from my own experience, I had a whole phase like a lot of women tend to have, and like something that especially millennial Gen Z women, that's, it feels like a rite of passage. One thing I can say, getting to 35 next month is that my whole phase definitely lasted way too long. I think
So do you think most women have a whole phase?
um I don't know if most women have a whole phase. I won't say that, but I know that where I am, like I'm in DC,
Okay.
and a lot of women are very career minded here, career driven.
Okay.
Lots of people are PhDs, MBAs,
Yeah, yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Yeah. And so
So
becoming a wife.
what's the disagreement about though? So we got to
So
get to
the
that.
disagreement is about how, I guess, I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like you've mentioned like basically going from the home, like going from your father's home to going to a marriage,
Yeah.
basically. And I feel like there should be time to explore. I'll
You
just be
mean there'll
frank,
be
to
a hoe?
explore your not no, not being a hoe, but to
Stop right here. Hold
explore.
on. Let me ask you a question. Before what what do you think the average woman can learn out in the world experiencing other men that can
Um,
make her no, I didn't even finish the question. Put yourself in a man's position. What can a woman experience of value with other men that I will find valuable?
um, I I feel like she can gain a sort of what's the word? Like you probably gonna roast me for this, but you gain a certain sexual skill. Like you talk about a woman should be able to, keep a man fed and then drain his balls, but you do pick up certain skills when you're out there. I'm not saying being a hoe, but just having a few
So you
experiences.
can't do that with you. So you think a man would find it preferable that you would do that prior to him?
I don't know, honestly. I don't know because a
The
lot of,
answer is no.
yeah, but a lot of
Hold
the
on.
Then we go into this, yeah, but, and I don't know because I didn't think about it. It's like, why would you not think about it? I know they think of, when women say this, it's like they think about it because they know their body count and they know that they recycle old partners sometimes because it helps keep their body count down. Why? Because we care about the body count. So, you know what? Let's just continue. I'll be patient before I go fully into this. Pause.
Hold on. See, many of you women believe this that it will be preferable. So what you're basically saying is men who are territorial by nature and want women to be as close to virgin as possible. You know that, right? You know men don't want women with high body count. You know that, right?
I know that, yes.
Right. So what you're actually trying to sell is that there's a value in a woman getting out here and riding the cock carousel for a couple, 3, 4 years. That's actually going to be valuable to him as an asset. It's going to be an asset for me to go to the country
Just
club with
like a
you
woman.
and Daryl saying, "Man, she's a great fuck." You mean to tell me it's going to be valuable? I take you to the mayor's ball, and he said, "Yeah, she sucked me off." And no,
Mhm.
no, ma'am, no.
That makes sense.
No, because men are territorial. We don't. The fear is really, I think, honestly, if we're being honest, I think this is more of a fear from women. I want to get out and get it out of my system because if I don't get the kind of dick I like at home, at least I can remember what it was when I was young.
Mhm. But is there not any value to getting it out of your system? Because I mean,
You're
Nope.
not
this
supposed to
is
have it. You're not supposed to be a hoe. It's not supposed to be in your system.
well, not a hoe. I don't agree
You're
that
not
there should
supposed to
be.
crave. You're not. Okay, ma'am.
Mhm,
Let's talk about black folks. Did you watch
mhm,
the show that I talked about sexual professionals? Go back and look on the community tab. Or just be honest. How many times have you been around your sisters and they will tell you, women, black women will tell you, they left the men primarily on sexual grounds?
yeah, a
I
lot of
know it.
women
I've
do.
talked to hundreds, thousands of black women before I did that show. I
Mhm,
interviewed dozens, and each one of them shared story. And this was women from 22 to 70, all sharing the same stories, decade after decade after decade. The only reason women were that way is because of an appetite that they had before the man that was suitable came along.
mhm, right.
So I don't see. So if women find themselves to be wrecking their own homes because they are been imprinted sexually by another man and they continue to keep looking for that same sex, you shouldn't have had it in the first place.
Mhm.
Women are not really
Um,
supposed to get out here and have whole phases.
mhm. um,
Why?
go ahead.
Do you understand why that is though?
I do understand why that is, and the whole.
Biochemically, women bond differently.
Yes, that's very true, and you pick up more damage along the way. I.
So there is, I, I have yet to have a woman truly articulate the value a woman can get from learning from other men through our quote unquote high value guy.
Mhm. Um, the thing that always comes to my mind though is that maybe this is anecdotal, but a lot of the men that I have talked to don't necessarily want virgins. I feel like modern men don't want virgins. I don't know if you
I
have
didn't
heard
say
of the show Married at
virgins.
First.
I said close to.
Mm-hmm. Right. But I mean,
Now
do
let's
you
understand
think
something. Let's understand
that,
something. Are you, the men you talking about husbands?
mhm. um yeah.
No, no, they are husbands. They're married already, or they're seriously
No,
looking to
I
get
got you.
married
I got you. No, they're not husbands, but they want to be married at some point.
at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Different kind. Okay, if guys out here just trying to get laid, of course he wants to have great sex.
Mm-hmm.
But men who are trying to, uh, anecdotal, yes, yes, there are men out there who say, "Yeah, I would want a woman that's experienced such and so forth." I know guys like that.
The main that's where girls get it conflated when they say stuff like that. The dudes that want girls that are experienced and know what they're doing sexually are the niggas that just want to fuck and then go upon their business, touch and go. They're not trying to wife you. It's the same way all these thick women that are overweight but have fat asses and are kind of cute get a lot of male attention and they act like, oh, I don't gotta lose the weight. All these guys are on me. Yeah, they want to fuck. They don't want to wife you and bear your kids and then have to deal with all that extra baby weight that comes with it that might not be shakeable, especially if you don't have patterns of being in the gym. These are just the truths, and the problem is that men have been lying to women for so long. Nowadays, when men get on these platforms and tell the truth to women, they don't want to believe it, and they think that it's just their perspective and it's not the perspective of men. And it's just like, okay. And you get all these other men coming and repeating the same message you hear on Kevin Samuels. So many creators in the manosphere are literally reiterating everything Kevin Samuels says because these are thoughts of mostly all men. Most men. So it's like, all right, let's get back to it.
But they are in the minority.
Mm-hmm.
Most men accept the fact they would rather a woman with low miles and would have to teach her.
Mm-hmm.
Versus, damn, how'd she learn how to do that? Because he's gonna ask the question, whether he asks it or not.
Hmm. That's fair. So
But
then, do you think? Go ahead.
wait,
Do you think that? So if a woman, goes to college
mhm.
and I don't know, she's 22 or whatever, do you think that she should, or I guess how many experiences do you think are enough, basically? How much is too much? If she goes out and
As low
sleeps
as
with three
possible.
men before she gets married, is that too many?
Well, no, but I think we got to understand what women are doing today.
Mm.
Young women are having more sex than young men. I watched a show
It's
here
facts.
recently where a woman, she's had 100 sexual partners in a summer.
That's a lot. Yeah.
I mean, I talked to women.
Wow.
Um,
Wow. That's some Tiana Trump shit.
a question for you:
Hmm.
if you were going to, if you knew if you knew you had found the person you're supposed to be going to be with until the end of time,
That was delayed as fuck. My bad, listeners.
and you knew you guys were going to be together till the end of time, you'd want to delay getting together, or would you want to get started as soon as possible?
Yeah, I would definitely want to get started as soon as possible. Yeah.
And that's the whole point. The problem is with so many women, they're looking at fear and scarcity, but the problem is not the problem in leaving relationships today is modern women.
Hmm.
You're the one leaving. 80% of the time, women leave.
Hmm. Yeah.
So I don't really think many women really know how to be involved. And I find it hard to think that a woman who has had multiple sexual partners, and I'm making no judgment, understand something. I don't, but it makes it harder for you to bond. You know
Hmm.
that. And if it's
That's
harder for you to bond, that's one more obstacle. Now, not all men are as open as reasonable as I am. Some guys will hold it against you, but the net of it is that I don't really see any value to a woman, to a man.
Okay, I'm some guys. It's the sad truth. A lot of guys are like me, but if you've been around too much, there is no value in you. There's no value in keeping you. I can't be out with a girl that's out with or been with the group or the crowd of people that you're out with. Like you can't. I will hold it against women. A lot of men do. It's like you're preserving your value. That's the game. Women preserve their value. Men obtain and gain value over time. And you have to work for your value as a man. You don't get the pick of the litter as a man unless you're like a different type of nigga. Like unless you have all the sauce in the world, you're the most attractive guy in the world. You don't really have to work to get money to get these girls because they just come in flocks. But that's different. That's not most guys' experience with women. But the hell was I about to say? Let's get back to this clip.
And for getting out here and having a whole phase, or getting out here and getting it out of her system. That's supposed to be a man thing.
hmm
Sow your oats. Women are the oats. But, when this world where we try to make men and women equal, and if he can do it, she can do it. But here's the thing: men, it's a double standard, and women pay a different sexual penalty from promiscuity.
That's true. I can't argue with
So,
that. Hmm.
even biochemically. So, um, all right. Anything else before we go on to the next person?
Um, I mean, I disagree with your stance on women's sexuality in general. Like you saying that it's a man's thing.
What
Like
do you
I
mean?
know that.
What is my stand? Oh,
Okay, I apologize. I have to stop it here because a lot of women do this. They like to debate the individual stance on women, like on their sexuality, and they just don't understand. There's consequences for your sexuality. This sexual liberation bullshit has hoodwinked a lot of women because it's like you can do what you want. You can have as many sexual partners as you want, but that comes with a consequence. That comes with men not valuing you the same. That comes with men not trying to wife, just trying to touch and go. It's like we look at things differently. A woman will look at it and be like, a man could had sex with how many women he wanted to, and then she could still see the value in him because he's protecting and providing and doing X, Y, and Z, and she doesn't care about his past like that as long as she's not getting cheated on in the moment. A man looks at it completely different. It's the same type of thing where they like to say a key that opens many locks is a good key, and a lock that opens for any key is a shitty lock. It's like, that's a simple way of putting it, but it's true though. It's like we look at things differently. That's why women try to keep their body count and preserve it, and try to they know it innately, but they want to rebuke it and reject it because they want to just be like, they don't want to deal with the consequences of their actions, or they don't want to be labeled a certain way for their activities. But it's just life. It's just life. All right, let's get back to this.
You disagree? Okay, what do you think my view is on women's sexuality?
Um, I I think that you believe that women have a sense of sexuality, but you think that men's desire for sex is more important than women's.
I misread that.
And
Never mind.
No. I think that
I didn't think she was
I
going
think
there.
biology supports that. Is the female orgasm required for reproduction?
No, it's not.
Then take it up with the creator.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I get that, but I like even going to the whole, well, never mind. I'm not going to bring that up, the whole like men exercising options and stuff like that. But women, a lot of women, and a lot of women that I know are very sexual, and they end up with people who, did you say
And
something?
they're also very single.
Well,
And
no, I know of some
they're very
married
single. And here's the thing: and the thing is, one way tends to work and have relationships of value and meaning. I mean, if your people are from the United States,
women.
how many people did your grandma or great grandma hold phase with before she got with with your great granddad or your granddad? Hmm?
Well,
How
probably
many?
none, but I don't.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And they were together 40, 50, 60 years. The stuff that we talk about that we want. But see, now we want to have the outcomes grandma and grandpa and big mama and them had, but we want the inputs of modern women. No, you cannot have it all. So if you want to get out and explore your sexuality, do you, boo boo, enjoy. But understand it's going to lead to an empty ass life because
What I
black
was
women,
saying.
especially black women, some of the most sexually liberated and free talking, thinking women, and you're the most unmarried. I'm not saying causation, but damn sure correlation.
Too much
They
correlation.
also have the most atavistic mating standards. Black women, more than any other group of women, will get rid of a man based upon looks and sexual performance, even if everything else is above average or suitable.
Mhm.
So, where did this arguably dysfunctional attitude come from? Because it's not typical in human beings, it hasn't existed in our culture until the last 40 years.
Okay, I'm gonna say something about that. If a girl, for me, I more look at it for the bad decisions that you make in men, the bodies that you accumulate and the time that you waste, and that's the way I look at it. If a girl leaves, say if a girl's on her second body and she leaves that dude because the sex is trash, then it's like, for me, I'm like, it's whatever, man. It's like, I don't hold that against, like, he holds that against women, and he's like, it's a more of a black woman thing and it's a modern thing. But I'm like, yo, man, if the sex is trash, she's probably gonna end up cheating later. So it's like, you're doing him a favor at leaving him at that point. So I don't see any problem with that. I just think that girls just need to choose a little bit better before they end up 30 something with a couple of kids and trying to find a high value man and then complaining to men like they're saying something wrong when they say you don't qualify. That's what I look at. But okay, let's get back to this.
Is it helpful to an outcome?
No, I mean, no. The way you're putting it is not helpful, and
No, it's selfish.
mhm.
And the thing is, what we're starting to see is we're starting to see the beginnings of the first wave of free love, laissez-faire, don't tell me whatever. We're starting to see that group of womanist feminists hit their 50s. And I don't know if you've seen what pathetic looks like, sad looks like.
Mhm.
Go around your local city and see many women in their late 40s and 50s who've just done what they wanted to do with their life, their body, such and so forth.
Right.
They're valid.
Well,
I would venture to say that they're rather masculine in their attitudes and dispositions.
that's fair. Well, one last thing I want to say before I let you move on. What would you say about a woman who got married fairly early to somebody, and her husband was her only partner for 10, 20, however many years, and she gets to a point where she feels like she's bored and she wants to explore her sexual options, so to speak.
What do you mean? What I would tell her?
Hmm?
What do you ask me? What I would tell her?
Well, what are your thoughts on that? Do you believe that women can become like sexually frustrated and wish that they had
Sure.
experienced more? What was
Do you
that
think?
again?
Do you think? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
ma'am. Due respect.
Mm-hmm.
Modern act like you can have it all. I don't care if you're sexually frustrated. Go pleasure yourself. You have a finger, a dildo. Go figure it out. Women used to have to go to the doctor for hysteria, and he would strap something to his hand, plug it into the wall, and put his hand down there until she climaxed. But you need to look around your house and say, do I have a husband? Do I have a kid? Do I have 401k retirement? Is a life worth living or good sex? And even the Sex in the City women have come out and said this was bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
This is a lie that's been marketed to women. The cosmopolitan lifestyle. I did a broadcast on this 2.5 months ago. Delayed marriage, open sexuality, uh, sexual choice. It's BS. What's the outcome? Do you know any women that are sexually liberated, sexually free, all these other things that are in happy, functioning, productive relationship that have legacy?
No, because I feel like it's a generational thing. I don't think
It's not a
we're.
generational thing. It's, okay, so the answer is what happens and what happens when sex is no longer that much of an option? You've used your yoni up and now it's 45 and don't nobody want it like they used to. Then that's when women start trying to come around. Hey, big head,
Jeez.
now let's get together. And don't nobody want no old used bag.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah,
So
jeez.
make
and
your choices. Make your choices, but understand something. One of the things that women have to negotiate with her youth, her beauty, her chastity, and access to her womb. If you're giving up your youth for access to your body and your chastity, even if you're protecting your womb, you're giving up a lot of your value proposition. You think men would give
Yup.
up their power?
Nope.
No. It is unwise. And the fact that we have such laborious conversations in the black community about sex is pathetic to me. Pathetic. We're at the bottom. The black dollar circulates 6 hours, but we spend more time worrying about
Fuck.
getting off than
Fuck.
building a mother fripping thing. I'm personally rather sick of the topic, but I understand why it's so important. It's important because black women keep it at the top. I don't know many men who've left their girl because the sex was bad, but I know a whole lot of women who left because she wasn't getting what she got in her college years or whatever. Well,
Jeez. You know what? He's speaking facts.
trade-offs and choices. But here's the last question: of your sexually liberated friends and all that, do they judge all men by the same sexual standards, or do they hold black men to a higher one?
Yeah, I think they hold black men to a higher one.
Then it's some bullshit.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That you should I would think you should find that offensive. I do, because that's crazy. But at least thank you for being honest.
Yeah.
And we can always talk about it, but I think maybe we just need to do a show on sex, and I'll just limit it to adults only and change the. Yeah, we need to have a conversation because we need to get to the point where we move past this. Thank you, Mom.
Thank you.
And I want to be clear that the conversation needs to be had. I get it, but my personal opinion, Jesus Christ, folks. I like good sex, but come on, priorities. Where does it rank?
You know what? I should have probably listened to the end before I even had my opinion on that, the sex part of the conversation, because he was more right than not. Sometimes you got to listen to the perspective all the way through before you add your perspective. But that's the mistake that, these reaction videos make you do. It's a problem. This whole phase shit, but people were accepting to it. It's like when he says women have higher body counts than men, it's true because women have all the access and they give away their value and they see it as sexual liberation. I do what I want, but that's kind of devaluing you at the same time. But they you're free to do what you want to do as a human being, and you're free to suffer the consequences as well when it comes to the whole phase. We just look at things differently, men and women, sexually. It's just what it is. It's like 15% of the dudes are fucking like 80% of the women, and we look at each other's values in a different way. So, and women know this. Women know this, and they'll kind of put up this fight and this wall to kind of just get away with what they want to do, pretty much. Now, I'm not saying all women. I'm saying the women that want to be sexually liberated and have all the sex in the world and then try to have a man that's high value wife them or whatever. They try to act like what they're doing, there's nothing wrong with it, and they will try to act like everything's equal, but it's just not that. We look at that as a masculine trait. And Myron said it the best. Myron from Fresh and Fit podcast. The same way a guy that looks perfect to a girl but will come up to him and speak and sound like a gay dude and be all flamboyant and blah, 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 and it will turn them off. It's the same way when a girl acts masculine and all aggressive and combative and all that shit, not submissive. It comes across very masculine and it turns off men the same way. He made the best comparison, probably said it way better than that, but it is what it is. It's like we look at things the same way. We're not equal. We're not the same thing. We value two different things in each other, and I think that for some reason it's been lost in modern dating. But I don't really talk about modern dating too much, really and truly. I'm probably going to start doing that on my channel and have more discussions like this, because it is good for the culture for people to get some insight to how other people think. Because for the most part, when I see a lot of these videos, especially Kevin Samuels videos, a lot of these women have been going through life not even thinking or considering what their potential man would want in them or from them. They all consider the things that they want in a man, and they project it onto men, thinking that men want the same things. And it's like, that's not it. But that's why they think whole phases are okay, because they don't care how many women a man's been with, because if anything, that raises the man's value to them, knowing that he's able to unlock all these women and all these women want him. But it's not the same. We want a woman that's desired by a man but doesn't, express her options all the time or at all. But I'm gonna wrap this up. Shout out to Kevin Samuels, great content. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Oops, wrong button. Shit, where's the fail button?